with large teams and small teams. Made a bunch of iOS projects as well as video games, and I love collaborative technology, and I've seen a lot of great stuff in the last 5 or 6 years, and I love getting to talk about it and to show people why it's a lot easier.
Okay, that's great, Justin. Thanks for being on the webinar. Our other speaker is Alan Tresker, who is a senior quality consultant at XPO Soft. Alan, could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, Jan. I started my career 19 years ago testing voice over IP. That was quite an experience way back then. Then I was developer, started a software company, VP of engineering, product manager, and so forth. Last couple of years I've been with XPO Soft, consulting for testing services, testing consulting, and it's been a great experience and a great time that we've had doing this.
Okay, thank you very much, Alan. We're going to start this webinar by framing the problems, and I'm going to ask Alan, why is it important, Alan, to trace the requirements through your testing results?
Well, when you first do testing, it's easy to have an appearance that the results are okay because you didn't find any overt bugs. But just because the system didn't bomb or something drastic didn't happen does not mean you got a good result, because you have to compare it against something. Without tracing things back to requirements, how do you know your test results are accurate? I mean, the requirements are the ruler that you use to test the accuracy of your test results. I mean, without requirements, how do you know you've met your goal? How do you know when you design the system you met the designer's goal of the product that you're developing? So requirements and tracing them back to test results are critical. You have to have them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And why is it especially hard in Agile development to do this?
Yeah, well, Agile came about because of the waterfall method. It was too slow. By the time you got to the end of your processes, requirements were no longer valid because things changed too much. And so people went to the other extreme and said, well, we're doing Agile, we're doing things fast, we're going to develop the requirements as we go. That's not a good idea. Just because it's Agile, just because you're doing things in in a very rapid development environment does not mean that you can get by without defining requirements. Defining the requirements are still critical. Agile environment is not a good excuse for not formalizing requirements. It does not slow down the process if you do it properly. So, rapid prototyping to test concepts does not preclude having requirements. So, with that, I'd like to bring Justin into the conversation because we want to be able to trace the requirements to the test results. But before we do that, why don't we just do a quick introduction and summary of Jira so that we can see the context on which we're going to have the discussion. So Justin, why don't you just give us a brief overview of Jira? Okay, Justin, how's Jira look for the purpose of?
Absolutely. So I love getting to demo Jira, and even with a quick overview for those of the audience members who haven't used it, it's essentially does two things and then everything else as well. So it does project tracking, so looking forward, planning. It has a lot of features that are great for teams that are using Agile, and it has a lot of features that for teams that are not using Agile. And then it does a lot of bug tracking, defect tracking, where you can see a lot of your data at a time and a lot of your problems, and have collaborative a system that can be collaborative and that everyone can view the right amount of data. So I'm just going to take you for 30 seconds around Jira's implementation of those solutions. Very quickly, this is what a typical user would see when they're looking forward at features they're going to use or features they're going to develop during a development cycle. And this is very similar to the traditional Agile Scrum wall board. And it's just as simple as that, and it's flexible and incredibly robust solution. So that's the screen. That's the future development. And then when you think about bug tracking, you can see all your issues, and you can customize the data that displays, and you can select issues and assign them to people. And so what's really great is that this is a holistic solution, and then we add testing and requirements traceability to it. And so that's what I'm really excited to talk about.
Right. So when we use, I'm very familiar with Jira, and we use it for bug tracking and for project tracking, and we really like it for that in the Agile environment. So I'm looking forward to seeing, but I had a question. How does the requirements and the values that is Jira, the look and feel, translate into Synapse, the requirement? Is it different? I mean, how does this fit into how Jira works?
Well, so I've been using this is a plugin called Synapse RT, and I've been using it. I had been using it for a while, and then I started working with Go-To Group, who makes this, and it's a fantastic product that builds right into Jira in the way that some of the other best plugins do. And right here you're seeing. Go ahead.
So Synapse is the plugin that allows you to trace the test results back to requirements.
Yeah, and I want to show you, I think this kind of addresses what you're asking for, which is a way to look at requirements and the results of testing on those requirements in a system that is connected and totally integrated with your project tracking and your bug tracking. This is at first glance, the screen looks, there's a lot of data, so I'm just going to show you right here on the left. Let me bring up my spotlight. Right here on the left, which this blends in, of course, are the requirements that we've defined. And right here at the top are test cases. And it's simple as just following the boxes along for a status update.
Okay, I'm looking at the screen, and I'm familiar with the bug and project tracking. Is it fair to say that the way Synapse has implemented the requirements tracking is the look and feel is the same as bug tracking and project tracking, so that the learning curve is very small because the look and feel is the same? Is that fair to say?
Oh, once you've used Jira, this is the only requirements and testing tracking software you're going to want to use, because it's built right on the foundation of Jira, and there's not much more to learn. Everything is built right in.
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, everything is built right in here as Jira entities. So this requirement, when you click on it, is really just a Jira issue. And if we go back to the first screen, this is a Jira issue as well. This is a test case. So we've got a couple of new issue types. We just create a couple new issue types in Jira, and then when you want to create something like a test case, you've got a test plan and a test case right here, and it's really easy to just integrate all of this. And so all of these issues are visible within the other parts of Jira.
Okay, very good. So you want to take us a little bit deeper and show us how test cases, how you actually do that?
Sure. So let me show you requirements first. So
yeah,
I think so this is a collaborative board, and you can give permission to whatever group you want to be able to see this. Is it everyone? Is it just the QA manager? But this is a collaborative board of the requirements, and at any given time you can change these live based on changing conditions, and many of you will see this this familiar kind of Scrum board here, but this is just a sorting. It allows us to say, okay, well, this is critical, and oh, this trivial thing, we just found out that the product can't ship without it, so this has become a blocker. And so these are requirements, and just for your reference, they are differently colored here. It's very simple. Red is that one of the test cases associated with this requirement hasn't passed, or at least one. And blue is that everything's in progress or hasn't been started yet. And then green is that all the test cases associated with this requirement right now are passed, and so there's nothing left to do on it. And here's just a quick little, chat board, so that if we're talking, if you and I remotely want to go plan this, we can have this permanent evidence of what we were talking about. So here's just a very simple way to set up. Here are our major requirements, and then the test cases themselves are just issues that we associate. So I'm gonna show you how I set that up. Is that all right?
That's fine. Yes, that's what I want to see.
Great. So I'm gonna switch projects here, and very simply, so if I create an issue and say, okay, I'm going to assign it. These are some custom fields. Oh, you know what? And I think this is going to be critical. But where Synapse really works well is that we're creating a simple Jira issue, and all of the data and all the ways that Synapse work is that they're just custom fields inside of Jira. And so I use the same screen that I would in the Agile tab or in the Issues tab to add a requirement. And so right here, just scroll down. I know that I want to add these 3 requirements to this test case, and now they're associated.
Okay.
And I can even set up a suite of tests. So maybe there's 15 or 100 or 2, and I can add those. And then
is this how I build a requirement tree? So I see parents and sub requirements and sub requirements under that, or is this how I do that?
Building the tree for just the requirements is a little separate. This is just related to one test case. And so I create this issue, and then right here, this is just the basic issue. It's of test type, test case type, and there you go. Right here, we've got these requirements, and it's also part of these test suites. And we can look and see that if we look at the requirements, here's another view, so that we can see the status of each. They're both in progress, and that's just the default status they get. And this has already been tested. And here's an attachment we got. And I can download it, so it works with attachments just like the rest of Jira does. Does that make sense?
So if I want, it makes good sense. So if I want to have several test suites, I can assign the same requirement and test cases to different test suites. For instance, let's say I just want a smoke test, a very quick test. I just have a few critical tests. I can assign that to a test suite called smoke test or something.
Absolutely. And and the great thing about this is that it's completely live with everyone that's on. Every time they click, they're going to get a refreshed view, and when you make changes, it'll be reflected in their assignments or in their results. And so everything's up to date. And more importantly, it's up to date with the rest of the team who's doing development or management or monitoring or reports. And so everything can be judged at the same time. And if you're using Jira, you know how great that system is, and you want to use it for as much as possible.
Right. I have a question from Rich. He'd like to have you scroll down and across the grid to see how that works, whether if your grid is larger than your screen, does that
Sure.
cause Jira to fall apart a bit, or how does that work?
You can do thousands. The actual configuration allows you just to. It's pretty flexible in how much that you can see. So you can. We have it limited to 10 because we do a lot of demos, but you can set up how many. How wide do you want it to be able to go. But just simply, we have it set up so that you can have pagination on this. So you can scroll through so that you don't have to scroll like left and right, or you don't have to scroll 100 issues down. You can set it up to if you want to view 100 issues down, or if you want to view 20 issues wide, and you can also. I'm going to click this, and things are going to flip. So now I have my test cases on the left and the requirements on the right.
Oh.
We've built it so
like
that every team finds the way that that is simplest for them to work and the most at a glance, and then they use that. And then most teams find a way that reflects the way they've worked before or the way they want to work pretty easily. Similarly, I think I've got to mention this. If we're talking about how we view information, obviously certain teams are going to work one way, certain teams are going to work another way. Here's a little quick filter. If you want to look at one part of the company, you can click on this, and we don't have any test cases with that component. But based on however you've set up your cells or your teams inside your company and inside of Jira, this will reflect that. So you can switch between certain test suites or different projects or different releases or any of the standard Jira filters. Similarly, you can just use a filter, one of your filters from Jira, and these are just filters we have saved as quick filters, and that'll also filter this view live.
Okay. A question from Mark. He says that we just created. What are the test steps and procedures? Where are they stored, and how did you exactly do that?
Oh, sure. So the view I've given you here is more of the manager, because obviously we're talking to a lot of people that are thinking about implementing this, but it's very simple for someone who's just going in and working on low-level testing. So if we look at a test case here.
Okay.
And this has already been done. You can see past operations. So the test case state was passed, and we have some history here. So we've been demoing this for months. You can see we originally added this, but then we went in progress. So here's what I do. So Synapse adds a few actions here to the end of an issue, especially for a test case. So I'm going to restart this. I'm going to go in. All right, so now it's open. It's changed to the workflow status. Let me change to my little highlighter. So it's so that's changed here, and let me switch to my mouse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do bug. So say I'm in the middle of testing, and okay, I found a bug. So I'm going to create a bug, and I want you to see what it's done. What it did was because I selected it from within the issue, the test case I was testing, it's inherited the test cases that were associated. So, and the requirements that were associated. And that's what we're talking about, traceability and tracing back to requirements. Because once I file this bug, this is a very angry bug issue.
Right.
And everyone's going to be able to see what I was doing. And so, of course, I could attach, a video of something or some code, and I could, and if I had any other plugins, I could have like the little drop, the mock UML, But this is just a plain Jira issue. Once I create it, we're going to see that. So you can see. So I was testing this, and I reported that based on these requirements, this was a bug. And so now everyone who's viewing this is going to be able to see that, oh man, there's 3 bugs in this box, and these are the same bugs because they apply to all 3 of these requirements. And then I can see this open. See, okay, this is open. This is in progress, and you see the little shortcut icons that you've chosen for that workflow. And so let me just go back and kind of close the loop on that. So I'm in progress. I filed a bug, right? But now, well, okay. So now what am I going to do? Well,
okay, just a quick question.
Sure, go ahead.
Lisa's asking, does this connect to your quality center to trace the test cases and defects there? Or it sounds like she has a different quality center. But this,
yes. This
okay.
can connect to we have if we're talking about automated testing, and this is a question I get a lot, and we have engineers that work specifically on exposing our APIs so that you can, if you have a custom testing tool or you've written one or you've bought one, or there's a lot of testing tools that we've interacted with, so TFS, Quality Center, CPine, Silk Test, IBM's testing tool. I'm not the expert that handles our automated testing, but this product does integrate with those, and so and also we have engineers that create custom bespoke solutions for companies to interact with their own automated testing tools.
Excellent. Okay.
So let me just finish up the loop on this. The nice thing is that you can report which requirements were passed and which were not. So say, okay, well, I'm going to say these were passed, and I can go passed and just update it. And so, or you can pass the entire set of, everything here worked. And then you can just say, okay, everything's fixed. And that's pretty much it. That's the entire workflow, and it's always reflected back in this view.
Okay. Do you want to try going over the test case again, make that a little more clear how you develop that?
Sure. So it's very easy to create an issue. And here's a test case. So
right. Just trying to clarify that in my mind how that works.
Right. And it's just you select an issue of type test case, and once you selected that issue type, that means that you are able to add whatever requirements that should be associated with this test. And then, so here's one right here. This is the one we've been playing with, but let's look at authentication processing. So this is an issue of type test case, and we can see here, okay, there's 2 requirements. And then and so this is open, and I'm going to report back what's happening. I'm going to say, okay, it's failed. And I say, so I'm going to report my answers back. And here, what we've got here is a history of what's been going on. So I made some changes to this, and this is all the data. Let me make it a little shorter for you. So this is authentication processing, and it's failed. And so I could assign this out to someone else, and this is one of the great reasons why I use Jira for this, is that it connects to everything else. So I can assign this out to one of the developers, or if we have a system where it emails a certain guy after anything fails, or a certain department after anything fails, that's going to allow that to integrate correctly with all that.
Okay, I'm assuming, because, you know, of course I know Jira, so the answer, I know the answer, but Mark is asking, can you put the test step procedures for the actual test case into the test case?
I'm a little unclear.
Can you put the test step procedures in the actual test case?
Absolutely.
So you can see exactly what you need to do.
Yeah, you can. You know, you can add as much detail as you want here.
Is that where you put it under the description area?
Right, and you know, one of the things that we think is really important, and that I think is fantastic, is that you've got as much detail as you want, and it's all available throughout the rest of Jira. So, but yes, the description is here. You can include images and attachments. And you can add other plugins to add other types of information. You can add the thing that allows you to draw sketches inside of Jira, and so you'll get all of the requirements documentation in here.
Okay, just going back to a previous question real quick about the Quality Center. They want to know whether you need another test management tool, or can you do the Quality Center all within Jira or Synapse, or how does that work?
For integrating that, we have to talk with each individual user to see exactly what they want to do and how it integrates. There's a lot of issues that to find the best tool. We're building a kind of abstracted tool that will allow you to go to whatever automated testing tool, but it does require an integration.
Okay. Okay, very good. So we developed some test cases under requirements. Now, can you just briefly go over again how you actually execute the test case and log the defects?
Sure.
I know you've kind of showed that already, but can you just highlight that one more time?
It's always there's a lot of things both in Jira and Synapse. So let me make sure that it makes perfect sense. So if I'm working on this test case, and this is something we had passed a while ago, but say I want to go in and retest, or say it's a new issue. So the user, the tester would go in and restart the test or start the test if it hadn't been done before, and now it's in progress. Now it's open. Now maybe I'm going to go to a different testing tool, or I'm going to go run the program or start the app, whatever it is, and I'm going to have the screen on my other screen, and I'm going to input my notes as things are going. So so this is open when I found a bug. So I'm going to create the bug. And you'll remember that it inherits the parts of the system that allows me to associate all these things. So this bug was stemmed from these requirements. But you know what? It's really only when I try and do this. It's only, and this is the test case that I was working on, and then I create it, and I'm just going to click cancel. So, but that's the that's where to enter in results of or a bug or a defect, and then it'll appear in that matrix. And then I haven't finished the test case. So then I'm going to say, all right, we got the bug, but everything else didn't work. So I'm going to click fail. And then depending on how you set up your system, depending on how you report to what you've designed, it's going to ask you certain questions. In here we have just standard comments available. So okay, so the resolution, it failed, incomplete, you know, nothing appears when I press the button, and I click fail. And so everything that your manager is set up to happen when I click fail happens. So it fires off that event, and maybe it sends off an email to a group, or it assigns the issue to another team, or it prints out a report, or you know, sends out a tweet. You know, whatever it is that we want to happen when someone finishes doing a test case, we've got it right.
Okay, so each time you fail and you want to re-execute the test case, is that where you do a restart? Is that what that's for?
Yep, that's right up there. And so Synapse adds these buttons to the standard Jira issue to allow me to execute testing.
I got it. Okay. Okay. So now we have executed some test cases and logged the defects. How does it work with automation tools, or does it?
Yeah, so I think, you know, that was one of the quality center questions. We get a lot of requests, and GoToGroup has a team of engineers that work on the automated testing and integrating with that, constantly adding different systems, and also working with companies to create solutions for their custom automated testing setup. So there are APIs that are exposed that allow you to interact with the system, and so you can do some of the work yourself.
So the integration is fairly close. It's fairly.
Oh,
so
yeah.
when you're using, yeah, go ahead.
Any automated testing solution that's going to send off a pass or a fail, we can build that into the system. And so you might not do this by hand, and what you'll see is this can be the reporting, and there you go, and you can use it as reporting and a way to send issues around, and maybe you're not using it to do manual testing.
So if I have a regression test and I have an automated test that's doing it, those failures will go right into Jira, and I can look at my traceability chart and I'll see it immediately what happened.
Yes. It's really powerful, and it uses all the great things about Jira and just allows you to apply more of those great things to more of your operations.
Okay. Now, you want to just, do you have anything more? I just asked for a summary of just tracing defects back to requirements, and then more generally, how does Synapse actually benefit? I mean, this looks all cool. How is it actually benefiting me?
Sure.
So,
well, you know, the defect right here, here's a bug. And the defect is super easy to trace back. Everything is right here. The test case where we found it, and we just click on that, we get all the history, who ran it, you know, when they ran it, any comments they had, and then alongside of the requirements that we were testing when we found this bug. It's you know, it becomes almost a non-problem when you use this. Being able to trace all these things, you know, no one has to trace it because the system does it. It's incredibly easy, and then that goes to the heart of why Synapse is such a great solution, is because you're building on this holistic management system inside of Jira. We've got our bug tracking. We've also got, you know, our day-to-day and long-term future planning, and all of these things connect. You know, you can view you can view your bugs in the sprint here and say, okay, that next sprint, we're going to take all these bugs and we're going to fix them, that they found over the last 2 weeks, and we're going to put them in the next sprint, and that's right connected to this. And when they fix the bug, if the coder is working on development team B, they go in and they fix it. It's marked resolved right here, and it's got that little icon.
Okay.
And then I know I can pass. They'll pass it back, and I'll test it again. So the things that it does for the dev team, it now can do for the QA team.
Excellent. Yes, that's what I want to know. Okay. Very good. Let's open it up to the floor for any more questions. If anybody in the audience would like to ask another question, that would be great. Yeah, this is, like I said, I'm very familiar with the bug tracking, the project tracking of Jira, and looking at this requirements tracking, it fits right in with the overall philosophy with Jira, which I really like. And it does not look like it's going to take that much effort to learn it, to get up to speed using it. So I'm pretty excited about doing that and using this product in that way. So if there's any Q&A, any more questions, that would work out well. Okay. Someone asked, is there the reporting functions? What type of reporting functions do you have, the defect distribution on requirements or so forth? What type of reporting is there?
That's a great question. Maybe we can hand back to me.
Okay. Want to do that, Jan? Just hand it back to, there we go.
Let me start this on my side. So now you can see the standard issue screen, and this is where I usually create my reports out. And so, say I'm gonna want to report a certain thing, and let's see, we just do test cases. And obviously, you'd have a custom filter that would do this, reliably. But this is just on the fly with 3 clicks, and the reason I had mentioned and put a point on the fact that they used just a custom Jira issue is that everything is visible. So you don't have to go and build the Synapse RT report and export it as like an Excel sheet and print that out. Like everything is visible in the same way everything else is visible in Jira. So right here you've got these comments. We've got the current test case state, what test suite we were using. We can, of course, customize these columns, and the session that was done, and the results, and any history, and of course this is too long. We should probably get rid of that column. But you've got all of the data, and then you can just export it, every way that you would have done in the past.
Okay. So that gives you a clear view, not on this, but that
on how to report. Yeah.
Right. So between this and the
matrix.
I don't know, that matrix of requirements and test cases, I guess between those 2 things, it gives you a very good view of what requirements are satisfied and how much you still need to go, how much more work you still need to do. Okay, very, very good. And I presume that you can export this to Excel pretty easily if you want to do something there.
Yeah, I mean that's right up here in this views. You export it to Excel, and it just downloads the view. This is just the standard reporting and printing features from Jira issues, or you can set up a custom dashboard, a little widget, and I don't have that here, but this is just working on a filter right here, and so you could just put that filter we did before and put it up here, and everyone will see it in the morning when they come in.
Okay, what if I've been tracking all my test cases in Excel? Can I go in the other direction? Can I go import all my stuff from Excel into Jira.
That importing that historical data is doable. You know, you got to do it right, but it's certainly worth doing. And in the same way that you would import it's just importing a set of issues. So you would want to be able to give the data in the right format. But once you did that, you could import all of that into Jira. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I think that's pretty good. Unless you have any more questions, I see someone else getting ready is typing a question right now. But that's excellent.
Well, thanks for.
Go ahead. Yeah, thank you very much, Justin. That was very good. I appreciate your insight into giving us insight into Synapse and how it traces requirements to the testing results. And I particularly like how it fits into Jira overall, that it's not just an add-on that's kind of separate. It's really integrated nicely into Jira. It has the same look and feel as Jira. And if you're familiar with Jira, it's a very easy transition and a very valuable tool to bring into your set of tools to manage your project. So I appreciate that very much, Justin. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, guys. This was very educational. I'm sure everyone enjoyed it very much. Information on where to find the slides and the recording will be mailed to you after the webinar. We would be very happy if you guys would follow us on Twitter @XPOSoft, where you can be informed on upcoming webinars or other software quality issues. And if you have any requests for a demo or how you can set up Synapse in your company, please email us at services@xposoft. Thanks, guys, and have a great day. Bye-bye.